I'm glad to have you join us on this edition of the program from the National Assembly. I'm Ignatius Nkwo. Well, today we bring to you a package on the day 3 of the public hearing by the Senate Joint Committee on Finance and National Planning on the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework and Fiscal Strategy paper, where ministries, departments and agencies of government were invited to come and give account of their income and expenditure for the preceding year.
We have the National Information Technology Development Agency before us, NITDA. This is one of the very few agencies that every company in Nigeria contributes to on a yearly basis. There is a certain percentage of every balance sheet of every company that is contributed, paid to the Central Bank of Nigeria for onward transmission to NITDA. The average amount accruing to this agency hovers around 6 to 6 billion upward on a yearly basis. And one main reason why this agency has been set up is to improve the development of technology across the length and breadth and divide of this country. We want to hear from the DG to explain to this committee, one, their own contribution to the medium-term expenditure framework. 2, are you partly funded or fully funded from the federal budget? If you are, to what extent? If fully funded. If partly funded, to what extent? 3, we want to know your contribution to the Consolidated Revenue Fund within the last 3 years. What are your expectations for 2021? What is your current wage bill as an agency of the government? These are more we want to hear from you. The DG, please go ahead, you have the floor. Thank you.
NITDA is going to clock 20 years next year. And when the agency was established, ICT was contributing less than 0.5% to the Nigerian GDP. And today it is contributing 17.83%. So the agency was established in 2001 to implement IT policy. And in 2007, the National Assembly passed a bill, NITDEF Act, that set up a fund, the NITDEF Fund. That's the levy the distinguished chairman talked about, of 1% from certain companies, which FIRSC collect on behalf of NITDA, and the Office of Accountant General manages the account. And the NITDEF Act specified how the fund should be spent for ICT development. So the agency has been spending it judicially. That's why today ICT is contributing 17.83% from less than 0.5% when the agency was established. So the fund, NITDA is not a revenue-generating agency because the fund is an operating fund which we don't have control over it. The FIRSC collect on our behalf and Office of the...
All the contracts you have control over it?
Yes, distinguished chairman, we have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean that if you have control over contracts, you have control over funds. Well, that's the way to bring out the fund.
Yes, what I mean in terms of revenue generating, our IGR is different from that funding. The fund is what the federal government or what the National Assembly Act says the government should collect on our behalf and we should spend it on developing.
What is the average amount remitted to you on a yearly basis from that fund?
Like you said, from 8 to 12 billion.
Every year?
Yes.
How much do you receive in 2019?
In 2019, I think we received 15.1 billion. Yes. But
do you pay salary from there?
yes, we pay salary, and we don't collect any money from the men.
Are you fully funded by the federal budget, or you are not funded at all?
We are not funded at all.
So you are self-sufficient agency?
Yes.
Huh?
Yes, sir.
So what constitutes your revenue at the end of the day? This 15 billion naira and so on, have you?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Now, can you take me through the breakdown of how that 15 billion was expended in 2019? At the end of every financial year of banking,
Yes.
you have your revenue, you have your expenditure,
Yes.
and revenue will be grants. One, you can say amount received from FIRS from this 15 billion.
Yeah.
Other revenue sources, total revenue. Now, less personnel cost, less overhead, less capital, and everything like that. That is how defense should move. So if you have any revenue not here, then we have incomplete documentation.
No, we can share because the letter.
Sir, we ask for revenue profile. And the revenue profile we ask for is not all these 10 naira, 20 naira. That's why in my opening remarks, I say all this to let you know that I know so much about this guy. That was why I realized all those information I've given you even before you start your program. I know so, and hardly is there any agency in this hall that I don't know so much about. So I want to say, please. Any document we have that is not comprehensive enough, that can guide our line of thought concerning whatever you want to tell us, will not be available to us, except we go and prepare and return back by 11 o'clock. We want to see every ABC contained in this document. Some agency comes here and say we are independent of the federal government budget. We are not, who cares? We care less. We can equally tell the federal government that all revenue accruing to any agency be paid to the government. They will give you cost of collection. So please, we don't have any complete document here. Go and work on your document and come back. Before us is the Nigerian Sugar Council. These agencies is one agency that has been identified by the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. And I want to say this, that the Sugar Council is one agency that will tell you that their money is in custom. Custom is the one holding their money. And there is need for them and custom to sit down because all the charges they need to collect, custom is the one which I don't know maybe that has changed going forward. But I will remember the last time I had an engagement with them. That was one of the reasons they are giving it to us. But I think is it yes?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yes, please, can you address the committee, your contribution to the medium-term expenditure framework? Are you fully funded or partly funded by the federal government? And if you are not funded at all, are you independent? If you are funded, to what extent? And the revenue generated by the Nigerian Sugar Council, how much of it goes to the consolidated revenue fund? And how much is retained by the National Sugar Council? Please address the question.
We are a full self-financing institution, and we generate our fund from sugar, 5% surcharge on CI value of sugar imported into the country on an annual basis. On page 1 of our submission, which shows the revenue performance in 2018, we generated a total of 10 billion, 10.007 billion in that year. It is broken down on a quarterly basis on that page. And by law, we remit 25% of what comes to us. And so that translates to 2.5 billion in that year.
Law.
Yeah, because we are captured under the...
by law, by administrative...
it was supposed to be operational expenses, operational surplus, but for years, even the Fiscal Responsibility Act couldn't come up with the guidelines. And the way several institutions were translating guidelines, they came up and said, okay, whatever it is you generate, pay 25% of whatever you generate into the CRF. No, the Fiscal Responsibility Act is supposed to come up with the guidelines for calculating operating surplus.
We don't know about any we don't know about the law.
Oh, well, it's okay, but even if the law is there, about the guideline, how do you calculate? Because several institutions were having different calculations, but that was solved, that problem was solved. Okay, sir. So that was solved, and so since 2014-15, I've been paying the 25%, and you asked us to present the revenue performance from 2018. So that's what we have there, 25% of the total thing that we generated.
Sir, are you saying that after that 25%, you spent the entire 7 billion naira for that year?
7.5, sir.
7.5 billion naira for that year?
Yeah. Yes, sir, yes, that's what we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
You spent 7.5 billion?
Yes. That's the IGR down there. Yeah.
That's
Yeah, the sugar levy, we don't regard that as IGR. Below it, on that same page, sir.
Is that 3.7 billion?
No, 3.7 million. Just for sale of bid documents, sir. It's for sale of bid documents.
Now, sir, what is your tax rate?
100.
100?
Yes, 100 and 100, thereabouts. 100.
100 staff?
Yes.
Now, what did you spend the 7.5 billion on if you have 100 staff?
Thank you, sir. You have engaged us several times before. The fund is mainly for investors in the sugar industry. So we do have a managed fund agreement with two development finance institutions, the BOI and BOA. And the way we operate, and I'm sure the chairman knows all this, just wants me to go through it, is that, okay, all right. We have a managed fund agreement with BOI to build our fund up to 20 billion, which they will match, so that we create a pool of funds for sugar investors. The same thing we have with BOI for 10 billion. We will contribute from our sugar levy every year. It goes into that. So it goes there. That's where the bulk of our fund goes, apart from the 25% to CRF.
How much is your wage bill?
Yeah. Our wage bill, on the percentage basis for both our wage bill and overhead, is about 11% of whatever we generate.
How much is your wage bill for the 100 staff?
From the
100 staff?
500 million. About 500 million.
It's for the 100 staff?
Yeah.
500 million?
Yes, but this includes all the NHS, NHIF, group life assurance, everything. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Can you give us your payroll?
Yeah, I know. I can.
We need a copy of your payroll.
Okay, sir.
What a copy of your payroll. Now, how much is your overhead?
Overhead annually ranges from 3 to 500 million also.
3 to 500 million?
Yeah.
We want to see the breakdown of your overhead.
It's okay. No problem.
We want to see.
Sure.
And the balance of 6.5 billion?
Yeah.
Goes to where?
Goes to BOI, BOA, and our other capital expenses. We can also provide the details of those.
Sir, please, how much is the capital expenses for the year?
Yeah, so what we net off, generally it's about 1 to 2 billion every year, thereabout. Once we net off what we go to BOI and BOA, it's about 1 to 2 billion. Yes, sir.
You are to give us a comprehensive document about your agency, stating, among other things, amount generated in a financial year, your wage bill for a financial year, amount remitted to Bank of Industry, amount remitted to Bank of Agriculture, your overhead expenses for the year, your capital expenses for the year. I'm coming. I'm only giving you a template in which you work on. And your overhead should be item by item, broken down, including your capital that constitute the 1 to 2 billion. Then you give us the final figure. Now, evidence of remittance to BOI and BOE for all the years. Evidence of remittances to BOI and to BOE for all the relevant years. Stating date of remittance, amount remitted, account which that money is paid into must be part of the document that you are giving to us. We want to have your wage breakdown starting from the number 1 staff to the least among the 100 staff that you have. You are now going to give us a document from 2018, 2019, then 2020 to date. And your projection for 2021. Yes, that is your expectation for 2021 to 2023 medium-term expenditure framework. Part of what we are looking at, I don't want to make any pronouncement until those documents we receive, until we receive this document. The assumptions for those projections too, we will need them. And until we receive all of this, we cannot say anything, because if there is so much money in Sugar Council of Nigeria, I believe it will not be out of place if the government should put their searchlight on these agencies in light of these revelations that have just been made known to us. So to that extent, the Executive Secretary, National Sugar Council, we want to excuse you to go. We will take you by 11 a.m. tomorrow with all these relevant documents. Thank you. You can leave us for now. Yes, FRCN, we want you to tell us, you've listened to us, you've been here, you've observed, and you have been able to witness. Are you fully funded or partly funded by the federal government? Do you generate revenue?
Yes.
Do you spend out of the revenue?
Yes.
Which part of your budget do you want to relinquish? Do you want to take, do we take your revenue, or you want to take your revenue and leave our budget?
No, let's leave the budget.
Which part of the budget do you want to relinquish now, please? The capital, salaries, the overhead, you must take one so that we move fast.
Mr. Chair.
You want to leave the budget? Or you want to leave the budget? Or you want to take your revenue? Which one do you want? You still want to do? You must take one.
What the Federal Radio Corporation does in terms of intangible benefits is much, much more than what it generates. And public broadcasters, by their own nature, are not set up to make money. If I can give you examples across the world, sir, international broadcasters like the BBC, like the Voice of America, spend millions and millions of pounds and dollars respectively in beaming their own broadcast to us. And they do not in any way try to say this is the money they generate, because they know there is an intangible benefit attached to that. And so therefore, in that context, Radio Nigeria was partially commercialized. In order.
How much you generate in 2018?
Yes, thank you very much, sir. In 2018, we estimated that we will generate 1,027 million naira. But what we actually generated was 705 million.
How much you remit to government?
What we remitted was 146 million 0.24 naira out of the 705.582 that was generated. Sir.
Generated 700 million in 2019.
In 2019, that's on page 14 on the document in front of you, we estimated that we would be able to generate 977.13 million, but we generated 532.53 million naira. And we remitted 63.16 million naira to the Consolidated Revenue Fund.
You expended 400 and something million.
We did, but we brought our request to the National Assembly because the overhead that we are given is a paltry sum of 193 million, which is not enough to sustain our radio operations. And radio is something that each and everyone wants to just switch on your radio set and listen to what is happening. Without that, sir, we wouldn't be able to be on air.
Sir, you are raising a justification where we should support you to spend over 600 million as overhead in a financial year. That's what you are telling this committee. That is, the 100 and something million given to you from federal budget and the 400 and something million you generated from the idea combined, which will allow you to continue to spend like that.
Sir, if you allow me, actually this amount is not even enough because, I want to use the popular adage that...
enough, sir.
Yeah, but if I want to use the popular adage that if you think education is expensive, then try ignorance and see the consequences of that.
We are ready to try one now, this economic situation. We are trying, because you know why? We are in a current situation.
I understand.
You understand? What we are saying and we try to come after each other. But anything that we can say now to salvage the situation that is currently before us, we will have to go on. Everybody must sacrifice. Everybody. As I've said, we are having a deficit of over 5 trillion naira in this budget. And everybody here wants to collect money from that budget. But where is the money? And here we are, you, the Revenue Generating Agency, you want to hold on to what you have and still ask for more. And that's why we're saying that at this point in time, take your revenue, make do with it. I'm coming, sir. Don't shake your head because that is what we're looking at. Take your revenue, be more proactive with it. Send out your marketing people to go out there and sell FRSCN to everybody. You are the number 1 radio station in Nigeria. Increase the revenue profile. Generate more money.
More aggressive.
Because the 100 and something you are asking for us to give you in the budget is not still enough for you to solve your problem. So it's better. No, sir, please. You have to go with one. If you think we're going to support you to remain the way it is, it's not going to fly. So you take with your revenue, which I believe is in your own interest, then you release the capital and the overhead, and your salary remains with the federal government. Now, if you think this committee will support you, FRCN, everything, then including the... It's not possible.
How many stations does he have? And how many...
It's not possible. So what I would tell you is, you have a very good marketing team you should put together. Let them go out there and compete with these private radio stations. You have the best instrument, the best facility in town.
The problem with Radio Nigeria, sir, is that we inherited equipments that are very, very old. And therefore, without capital investments, in order to make sure that these equipments are up to date, Radio Nigeria will not be anywhere close to realizing what we are expected to realize. I will give you an example. This is the area of digitization now. We inherited equipment from the 1960s. I think for those of members of distinguished senators that used to listen to Radio Nigeria Kaduna, Radio Nigeria Kaduna used to be listened to everywhere in this country. But at the moment, even here in Abuja, it's very hard for you to receive Radio Nigeria, and this is because this is a transmitter that was bought in the 1960s. Even the company that we bought this transmitter from has packed up. It's only due to the ingenuity of our own engineers that is why we are even able to now use that transmitter to transmit. So therefore, sir, if you say that we are going to exit from, the budget system, I think it's just a lead way to killing Radio Nigeria, because at the moment Radio Nigeria needs heavy investments. And until you make that heavy investments, I think any decision to say that Radio Nigeria will be able to generate its own funds, I think... At the moment, it depends on what transmitter you're talking about. If you're talking of a shortwave transmitter, you're talking of in excess of $2 million.
$2 million.
In excess of that. Thank you, sir.
We generate 700 million. We pay your salary. We give you capital. We generate 800 million. And $2 million is about $800. Using 360 exchange rates for you, it's about 7.2 billion naira. Exactly. You will pay over 3 or 2 budgets to buy a transmitter. For how long have you been MD of FRCN? 20? If you continue to save, 2016 to date, you will have bought us a transmitter. Why must, excuse me. Because you are not being strategic with what you are doing. If you are strategic with it, this is an organization where you are DG and you want a turnaround. You generate all this money. You receive all this funds from us. And all you need to tell us here is this. You want to buy a radio transmitter and your own is obsolete. It's not defensible. It's not. This is the more reason why we take this money from you. It's because you have this money at your disposal. That is what I'm saying. Sorry, sir. If since you came on board, you are saving 100 million by the side, I need to achieve this project. By now, they will have given us the most latest radio transmitter. It will have been heard everywhere in the world, and FRCN will continue to exist and compete with other radio stations in Nigeria. If removing you will be the way to kill FRCN, we will remove you. I'm saying this, sir, because if you continue to support you, if you come back next year, it will be the same issue of radio transmitter, because we have no plan to buy another radio transmitter this year. And if you have been there since 2016, because you said since 1960, if something that was bought in 1960 and you become the DG of that place 2016, and there is no plan in place to replace it, if that is even your own achievement in that organization, that while I was there, I did this, it should be something you should be proud of. It's not about us struggling with figures of how much you want to retain, how much you want to. If you have come to us and said, you came on board, after 4 years, this is what you have achieved, we should support you. We'll be eager to do that.
Maybe you have done something.
Yes, I'm listening.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You'll be glad to know, sir, when I came on board, there is a station in Abuja, a medium wave station, which got built, I think, about 3 years before I came in. When I came in, I found about 700 staff not doing anything. Within the small amount of money that I have, I had to secure a medium wave transmitter for that station. And at the moment, we are trying to make sure that that station is on air. This is the kind of things that we are doing, and it's a medium wave transmitter, which is different from an FM transmitter. This medium wave transmitter, if we are able to put it here in Gwagwalada alone, it will serve the whole of the north central zone, and it will extend to northeast, northwest, and some southwest and southeast. This is what we are doing. So this is why I'm asking you to support me, sir. It's not that we are not doing anything. We are doing anything. Thank you, sir.
It's your vision that we provide an FM transmitter, which is about $2 billion, and it's obsolete, 1960. And I believe that is more greater than the medium wave transmitter you are talking about.
If that is the case, at least by now, after 4 years in office, well, I want to give the floor to my colleague, the Vice Chairman of the committee. Please go ahead, ask your question, sir.
First, the issue of partial commercialization. I don't really know what it entails. Okay, it's either you are commercialized and operating as a commercial venture, or you are not. What is the implication of this partial commercialization, and why have you decided to remain on that? Can you discuss with the Bureau of Public Enterprises that you need full commercialization? Because partial commercialization has a lot of leakages, especially with respect to government establishments. I don't know how far you have gone with them. You can't continue to remain partially commercialized. You must be fully commercialized to be able to compete favorably with the private radio stations out there. Number two, your cost items, especially the maintenance. I've gone through your figures. The maintenance expenses. You need to look at them. Those maintenance expenses can be renegotiated. I've gone through them. I don't want to bring them up one by one, but they are here. I've gone through them. Many of them can be renegotiated because it's also a way of you increasing your revenue. I think you understand. I mean, if you cannot generate sufficient revenue, you can also cut down on your costs, which invariably translates to increasing your revenue. So you need to look at these maintenance expenses. I think you understand. There are various items. I don't need to go through them. I mean, you need to work on them, and they are negotiable. Thank you.
This was done way back in when radio and television were separated. And the implication of that is that government can now come and ask us to do something without any payment. And this is why we are having some of the difficulties we are having. I think Radio Nigeria will be better off if it is fully commercialized and everyone knows that when you come to Radio Nigeria, you must pay. But this is not the situation. At the moment, we are doing a lot of free service to the government. A lot of it, sir, without any payment.
For every free, what do you call it? Free coverage, please let us have a list. And which agency? Except for national broadcast by the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which must hook on and other national TVs. Let us have a list of all the free commercials that you are running. For which agency of the government? Give us the list. We have to start calling the head of this agency to ask. At least we have the record of this agency there. Is there anybody running free advert on FRCN? If you are running, raise up your hand. Yeah. At least they are all here. There are your fellow agencies that are head of parastatals are here. I don't know, maybe it is newer that is running free agency. No, you are not. Okay, maybe LLNG. They are doing free service for Shippers Council. They say free. No, you are not. So where is who are they? Come and deceive us here, please. I know the only thing you will do is hook on to national broadcast by the president. All this COVID stuff, there were provision for media publicity in the PTA.
You made this community to realize that the transmitter that you are using up to now was the one acquired in 1960. Is that correct? But what do you see? The 36 FM radio stations were provided with transmitter in 2002 by the former DGD era. So why now do you say you have obsolete equipment? That's question number one. Number two. Okay, number two. You, like the chairman has said, there's no need to come and tell us stories that you cannot substitute with sufficient evidence here. Those of us in the Senate, we are experienced businessmen. We have been in this economy for years. Some of us are over 60. Therefore, we are stakeholders. Nobody comes here to come and deceive us. Tell us exactly what is your problem. Then, when you don't hide your problem, the National Assembly, we are democratically elected here to solve your problems. But the question is that many of you are running this against as if no more business. But if it's your own business, you run it at a profit. Because if you don't run it at a profit, you can't pay your staff. But government come, government go. When you have excess, you lavish it, nobody will sack you. But the question is that it is no longer business as usual. Let us take it or leave it. Because we are in deep problem as a country. And we have solution in our kitty, but we refuse to provide it. So that is what this particular committee stands for in the National Assembly. Under Ahmed Lawan, this is a different finance committee. That is why they are made up of individuals who are very highly professional. So we know our onions. Therefore, many of you will be put on 4% or 3% cost of collection, so that we can have money to fund our budget. Nobody comes here to come and tell us lies. So the 36 FM transmitting station that was established by AD can never become obsolete now if there are proper maintenance. So giving us a story of 1960, 2002 is still very young, because 1960 is far, the day of independence. So you cannot say, you are saying you see equipment that is as old as Nigeria as a country. This is the ages of technology, ICT. And therefore, justify your position. You can raise more revenue to sustain yourself. We'll remove you from the budget. And therefore, all your staff will stand firm to deliver on their mandate. Thank you.
You are allowed to borrow. You are commercial in nature. And then because you are commercial in the sense that sums which may be collected. Supposing I want to buy your subscription. Can't I? Is there anything stopping you from providing subscriptions for Nigerians to subscribe to? So if you are providing to 20 million Nigerians to subscribe, example, why not? This law does not stop you from doing that, from selling your subscriptions. I'm looking at your law, sir. Is there anything stopping you from? Nothing here. So I'm just trying to help you, because if you have 10 million or 20 million Nigerians to subscribe at 1,000 naira a year, that's come to 20 billion. For example, because I was thinking that your act said don't provide subscription, don't sell subscriptions, but your act is open. You can do that. You can borrow money. You are commercial in nature, and you say you are using obsolete equipment from 1960 today. Does that not, are you not indicting yourself? You are. So my own is just, it's an advice, it's a suggestion, and I think we'll have to take you out of treasury. Don't say you don't have money, don't have to say you have large sources of money. It's just that you don't want to do it. The law does not stop you, and neither will policy stop you, since the law does not stop you.
500,000 naira is not going to be able to buy you anything.
By who?
By the law. It's inside the act. We don't have the complete act here. It's just a photocopy of some pages. We don't have the complete act, but the complete act says 500,000. Actually, it's there. If you look at borrowing powers, 23 subsection 2, it says 500,000 naira. If I can read it, the corporation shall not, without the approval of the president, borrow any sum of money whereby the amount in aggregate outstanding on any loan or on all loans at any one time exceeds 500,000 naira or such other limit as the president may specify from time to time. On the issue of the subscription, again, as a public broadcaster, sir, we are not allowed to ask Nigerians to pay in order to listen to us. The FRCN has got two sets of stations. There are the traditional ones which FRCN inherited from the zones. That is the northern zone, the southern and the southwestern zone, and the southeastern zone. These were in Kaduna, Ibadan, and Enugu, respectively. Those were using shortwave. That was even before we started FM stations in Nigeria. So when I was referring to the transmitter that was bought in 1960, I was referring to the shortwave transmitter in Kaduna that we inherited. The FM stations are a separate entity, a separate entity. Now, it is true that between 2002 and 2003, this country saw a revolution where FM stations were located almost in each and every state with new transmitters there. But sir, again, this is where the problem is. The average lifetime of an FM transmitter is between 10 to 15 years with the best maintenance culture. From 2002 to now, you're talking of 18 years. So most of these transmitters at the moment have gone out of their lifetime. This is the struggle that we are having. We've had, within the budget that we are having, within the capital over from 2016 to now, I have managed to buy new FM transmitters for some of our stations, and we are continuing. This is what I'm saying, that at the moment, it's a precarious situation where FRCN has found itself, because you have equipments that are not at all able to compete with the ones that are commercial. And this is the mistake that we are making, that if a private station can make money, we can also make money. But we are not starting from the same base level. If we are starting from the same base level, yes, we must do that. But we are not at all starting from that. And that is why I'm appealing to this House to look at our own special case and, allow this, give us to continue to make sure that we revamp these stations.
In line with the reference to the act setting you up, which my colleague have just read out to you, coupled with the fact that we believe that if you are fully commercialized, you will be better positioned. And we strongly believe that laziness is the order of the day as far as the agency is concerned. For you to be repositioned, for you to be more pragmatic and proactive, there are some steps which might be very hard that we have to take to get you out there and compete favorably well with other agencies of your nature. To that extent, we are asking that there is no way to generate revenue and we still fund you, your salaries, your overhead, and your capital. It will be unfair to this nation, to the entire Federal Republic of Nigeria, at a time when the economic global crisis is taking over the whole world. So we are not witch-hunting, and we are not trying to prove difficult, but we are saying you have more than enough to cater for FRCN for now. So you should start looking towards you not having either your capital and overhead, you keep your salaries and your revenue, and put out a very good and strategic marketing plan that can drive the commercial angle of FRCN, so that whatever you generate, you can double it in a year. And by the time you take about 80% of that, you will have more than enough to do your bill. Maybe by the time you appear next time, say, take me out of the budget. But it takes extra hard work to achieve this. So start looking towards that. Maybe this set budget, by the time it finally comes out, you only have your capital, you only have your salaries, while the overhead and capital will be nothing for you. So you start struggling with whatever you get. And it is fair on you, because we'll have put you under cost of collection. So you generate 700 million, we give you 10%, you have 70 million to work with. You will see that next year, that 700 will turn to 3 billion. Because you know that the more you generate, the more the cost of collection. But we are not going through that route now, but just take it. Salaries and your revenue, go. Find the overhead and capital, don't look at that area again. I'm only suggesting. On that note, the DG, Federal Review Commission of Nigeria, we want to thank you very much for coming. We have listened to you. We've started at least one leg, overhead and capital. Next time might be the salaries. So you can leave us for now. Thank you.
In 2018, we surpassed. In 2019, our budget was 581 million. 521,509 naira 38 kobo. Actually, we generated 513,873,709 naira 58 kobo. Actually, we generate 84% of that revenue. In that same year, we remitted 494,293,282 naira 97 kobo. 2020, we had a target of 726,901,886 naira 72 kobo. But as of today, what we have remitted is 268,339,000, that's for Q1, Q2, 337,787 naira 0 kobo. Actually, some of them, they are the input cost. For example, input cost. For example, we have the meter seal, what we used in sealing meters. Actually, we procure them from the revenue because the seal actually is taking cognizance from that one. Because the seal actually are attached to the meter before they are deployed and installed. And they pay for it, and that is the revenue of the balance of what is paid, that is actually the revenue. Then from our inspection, actually our functional activity are actually service for safety of life and property within the industry. But from these activities of carrying out inspection, testing and certification will generate some revenue into the coffers of a government.
You will not explain what I want to hear from you. Yes, remittance 80% of what you generate, the remaining 20%. Because that's coupled with your wide expenditure.
Yes. That's what I said. It's part of the component we actually use in generating the revenue. For example, the licensing of certification of electrical installation contractors. No, as a part of the IGR. I will explain. Let me say something, sir. Sorry, sir. We have a central board that actually certify electrical installation contractors that are actually undertake electrical works in Nigeria, and it's done by a committee, a panel, and the board comprises of NEMSA staff, engineers, Korean, Ministry of Labour, Standard Organization of Nigeria. So these are what the money is used for, because part of them we have to pay them their honorarium because they come from different places, and at the same time we have to print the booklets, we have to print all the documents, and these actually are not covered under under our overhead.
As we've been listening to our agency, this is the best. He basically needs more money to employ more staff, because the meters that we put and some of the electrical fittings that come into the country, they need to satisfy them. They don't have the staff to do that. So I think for me, Mr. Chairman, if there is any one agency that the chairman would graciously agree that we add money, it will be this one. Because we need to be safe. Otherwise, there are all kinds of substandard electrical appliances that are coming in here, and they're supposed to satisfy all of them, and they don't have the staff, which touches on their competence to do that. So for me, you need to add in more money. I hope that you support me.
What's your wage bill?
1.4
billion. And the federal government pays the wage bill. Yes. The federal government pays that 100%. 100%.
Yes.
Your overhead cost. How much is the overhead cost?
432 million. But actually the best we got is 310. 432, that is the budget.
I have got it 310.
I've got 310.
What of the capital?
Capital, 619 million.
619. How much do you receive?
We received 619 out of 928 and 28 million, sorry.
The federal government is giving you releases.
Chairman, I know that I said we are a new over a lot of the allocated facilities. The meter station, 3 of them we took over from the NTA. One at Cuisine, one in Port, one in Nigerian. These are part of.
Now, what you will do for me is this. You will go and give me what that 20%, the 20% of your remittances remaining, what you use it for. You list it year by year. I want to see the justification and the need for you to retain that 20%. You understand? Then we start looking at some other things aside that. And I must commend you in terms of remittances. If you generate 600 and you remit 500 and something, but the gap, 116 million equally. So you see what the 20% is meant for. That will guide our line of thoughts. But as it is, generate 600, you pay 500 and something. Yes, federal government pay your salaries, release overhead, release capital, and you still retain about out of this almost 100 and something million. We want to know what it was used for.
It's a very new agency that was, that was brought to being. I think it was 2015. The money they are available to them is not enough for them to do quality tests. And in this country today, a lot of fake materials are being brought to the market. And this agency is there to certify, to ensure that quality material are brought to this Nigerian. You see a lot of electrical material being brought in, fake materials. And that is penny-wise and pound-foolish to Nigerians. As democratically elected in the National Assembly, the agencies that are really doing their work need to be encouraged. So particularly this particular, power is very key. Power is very key to development. Fake materials cause a lot of problem for Nigerians. So the request of this particular agency must be given accelerated consideration by this committee, because when you look at when we talk about materiality concept, what is the percentage of what they needed to do this work? We consider very, very, not much, significant. And therefore, the little amount they needed to do material testing and ensure that most of all the distribution companies too, they are just collecting money. The meters, they don't even provide meters. I think this is one of the things they need to ensure that many of our people who are in our constituents are provided with meter, quality ones. And then the type of meter they brought, most of these people were brought in, are so fast, faster than 3 times the charges people are paying. So it is this agency that will be able to look at, is this one normal? Is it normal, and ensure that Nigerians are being cheated? They have been cheated several times and again. And this agency is charged with that responsibility to ensure that correct billing, meters are the ones provided to Nigerians. Because all these distribution companies, they are faster than us. In fact, most of them, they will charge 10 times what a normal consumption should be. So such meters should not be allowed to enter this country any longer. And therefore, they need additional funding to execute their mandate in the interest of Nigerians we serve.
For me, I do think that one of the weaknesses we have in our national life is regulation and control of every sector. It's a major weakness. And for us to develop, that's one area we have to pay more attention to. You have a role to play, it's good. You generate much and remit a lot, it's good. We'll be happy. But you should pay attention to how can you help citizens. What do you need? You need to have that robust thinking and have it documented. I'm sure even the chairman will be happy to support you because he's affected.
Lagos Trade Fair is a very small agency, but it is mighty in terms of revenue. I could vividly recollect that it was the intervention of God and my very humble self
that broke the stronghold of a cartel that have taken over that complex for over the years. It takes intervention of the Nigerian police, the BP, and some other agents of the government and the National Assembly. Senator Isusu was there. That we succeeded in ensuring that this property returned to the federal government. And since then, he has been manning and taking charge of the affairs of that particular agency. Then, Madam, we want to ask from you, how has it been with the management of the Lagos Trade Fair Complex? 2, all those you have engaged to provide services there, what are the yardsticks? Where are the copy of the agreements between the federal government and the vendors that we are using in collecting revenue? What is the rate of charge? How much have you generated within the last 3 years? How much have you expended within the last 3 years? Are you fully funded or partly funded by the federal government? If fully funded, to what extent? If partly funded, to what extent? And convince this committee why we should still allow you to continue to run that particular agency. You have the floor. Please address us.
For the vendors we're using, we have the agreement, but I was not asked to bring. But I will still bring that.
We need the agreement.
Okay, we'll bring that.
But the agreement will give us a clear-cut understanding about what was negotiated on behalf of the federal government and the vendors.
Okay, sir. First, the parameter that we used was that we met some vendors there before, and they had existing rates, which I tried to take up a little bit because it was really it wasn't that easy to repossess that place. It wasn't, sir. But I'm happy we're coming to times because everything was in disarray. Nothing, no standard, nothing. The standard we had was the one before the concession, and we worked on that. So that's that, but we'll bring the agreement for the vendors to see the parameter that we used. Then, should I go to the revenue we generated for the past 3 years? Yes. And sir, I am fully funded and I do not spend from the IGR. I do not. I don't have a retainership that I spend from. So I only spend to CR. Yes, sir, and we have the receipts. We did not because we were not given approval to. Okay. We were not.
So all monies are going to you, go straight to the CR. Can you take us
to the TSA, and from there.
How much is the rate? How much is the rate? 2019.
Okay, no.
How much is the 2020 to date? How much is the rate? With relevant receipts.
Okay, sir.
Can we have a look at that?
Okay, so permit me to allow the accountant to go through that with you, sir. Okay, go.
In 2018, we generated 992,314,394 naira 85 kobo. The receipts are attached of the remittances. Then in 992 million. 992 million. And receipts, all payments were made to TSA.
In which year is that?
2018.
And all the 982 million
we have the receipt. Yes, the receipts are here.
Can you take me through the receipts?
What we do is that we do not handle cash in the office. They all pay straight to TSA. We give them a code, RR code, and they pay straight. So we don't receive cash.
How many vendors do you have there?
Vendors? Maybe like 10 or so. Because like 10 of them. Oh, I said you're talking about stakeholders.
Yes, stakeholders.
Oh, stakeholders, we have about 66 of them.
66 of them.
Yes, sir.
And they generate revenue to you?
Yes, they generate. They pay ground rent. That's what they do. That's what we call it, ground rent. Yes, sir. The vendors, they pay some pay weekly, some pay daily, some pay monthly to the TSA. Yes, we did. It's even there.
The 992 million you recorded in 2019.
Yes.
18.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is a combination of the stakeholders and the vendors.
Stakeholders, vendors, other activities. We broke them down, so it's there. In 2080, ground rent on leasehold was 800. Sir, for now, no, it has even gone down because we're not limited by the dues. That's what I want to. I said you're going to come into this to stay help us. You know, when we took over, we decided to see how we can turn the place around and make money and develop and do other things. But after June 2018, BP came and said we should do nothing. They came with do's and don'ts that they were going to concession that place by December 2018, and they will not do anything. They said they've given us December now to do that they were going to, because they brought a transaction advisor that worked with us for 6 months to get whatever he would get. And then when we were about finalizing, the transaction advisor, I don't know, they had problems with BPE because they told BPE the truth that we were telling them that excise these stakeholders, the other things there can be concessioned, but they insisted on concessioning 322. And on that 322, you have the DSS of 43 hectares, you have the admin block, you have the 100-room hotel, you have other things you cannot even readily concession like that. But they insisted on the 322, and they had a problem. They wrote us that they sacked the transaction advisor. So that studied for some time. But in January, they called us that they've gotten a consultant from Canada who was going to finish up the whole thing, and that we should not still do any. So as of 2018 was when we did something last. And apart from that, what we do now is to make sure they pay their ground rents and some other activities that we could do. So that's why.
Please go ahead and bring BP tomorrow to appear. So we must tell us where they are heading to regarding this particular transaction.
So,
Madam, in 2019, how much did you generate?
330 million. BP do's and don'ts. Yes, sir.
2020 today, how much did you generate?
I think 68 million so far.
Okay.
50 and 18.
But the general federation should come in and look into your books.
Okay.
And see why you are better to go down from now and something.
No, that we have remitted from January to June.
We'll look into the books of Lagos State Complex for the last 3 years.
In your 2021 projection, okay, you've estimated that everything will be recovered, okay, in year 2021. I think that is too ambitious. Okay, I would rather you don't even make reference to it for now. Keep it aside. If it becomes fine, it doesn't, because we go to court for the next 10 years, we may still be hanging in the court.
It's a big investment.
Do you understand? For the next 10 years, we may be in the court on this issue, because I know the background very well. It is not an easily recoverable money. It can be recovered, but not as easy as you have projected here for 2021. Okay, it's too ambitious.
We want you to come back. We are listening to you. We will need BP tomorrow to come alongside with you and the Nigerian to look into your books. And for the next 3 years, but we cannot quantify. We are dealing with traders. We are dealing with all sorts of business. Listen, if you give them 100 tickets, 100 tickets, traders will say, what are we doing 200 tickets to make to them? Who quantify that? So we must go and see the methodology you are adopting to sell all these tickets and the target you are giving them. Because if they achieve that target, the many at the back who look after it. So we are not suspecting, but we are saying that let us not play smart. So we are listening to you, not enough that we remit 100%. We can remit up, we can generate 200% and remit just 100%. So let us, Mr. General, we believe will be able to defend everybody to look into your procedures. So to that extent, we will expect you again 12 o'clock tomorrow, alongside with Mr. General and the people who are actually.
I want to listen to you. The document is before us. You are just a quiet agency somewhere, just enjoying government money. Nobody knows about it. Just hide in one corner. Then when you see letters, you say, I have to, what's the now that I have known this, there is no way to hide it.
Education now.
They will continue to write to you all the time.
National Business
for Technical Examination Board. Oh, wow. Not
in Abuja.
Abuja?
Yeah?
Benin.
Oh, Benin.
We have to reduce this government again. 600. Madam, please kindly speak to us on your document before us. As you are all aware, you've been here since morning. How are you being funded? explain to us how much do you remit to the government coffers, revenue generated by you, are you spending? How much is available for you to relinquish? Or we just put you upon inquiry for the Auditor General to go and investigate you? But let us hear from you.
This is a public examination body that is mandated to carry out examinations, assessment in the area of TVET at the post-basic education level, just like at the SSC level, mostly candidates from technical colleges. And our revenue is mostly examination related. The candidates that do our examination, they pay the money. We also we are fully funded because our personnel is paid by government. We get overhead, though not enough to carry out our activities. So we spend mostly from the examination fund. A little capital, we have a lot of capital needs, like our scanners, the vehicles to move around the country, because we cover the entire country. That's the profile of our activities. And the document, if I can refer to the document, on page 1, you see the various resources. This document, sir. Yes. Page 1 contains the amount that we generated on IGR, and also on the A part is the IGR, sir, which is the revenue collected in 2017 up to 2019. And B part is we have the subvention from government, personnel, overhead, and capital. And then on page 2 continues, that is the expenditure. But I want to say something, Mr. Chairman. We are an examination body a little bit disadvantaged. I say a little bit because I am hopeful. I have written to our supervising ministry. We have made case to head of service, the council on establishment, because we can make a lot more money than what we are making. But the reason is because the status of our certificate is still an issue. There were circulars that were circulated to government, and even those that used to take our examination, especially the business section, accounting and so on, stopped taking our examination. And also the status of the acceptability of our certificates by tertiary institutions is also an issue. But we're working on this, and I'm hopeful that this problem will soon be solved. And for that, you know that technical education is very, very important, because if we can empower our youth with technical skills, we won't have a lot of this problem on restiveness and unemployment that is on everywhere. But because of these issues, these challenges, there are a lot more challenges. And so that's why our revenue is not that much to be able to help us to conduct exam. And because it's an examination body, there are benchmarks for examination. For those of us who, I'm a professor of education evaluation, you cannot just do examination anyhow. We have to pass through the same stages that other examination bodies are going through, and that means that we must pay the relevant stipend or whatever. Yes, sir.
What is your staff strength?
Our staff strength as of today, I think is 664, 65, thereabouts, sir.
664?
Yes, sir.
And you are paid by the federal government?
Yes, sir.
Your overhead?
Overhead, well, for this year was about 95, but I was told by my DFA that it was cut down to 62. Yes, but that's not what has been released, though. But that's okay, sir.
Your capital?
For this year, our capital for this year, I'm sure what is released is not yet up to about 33. Yes, sir.
33 billion?
No, millions, sir. Yes.
I observed that is a federal subvention, or is different from the capital by this in the document.
One is, we have personnel there, we have overhead, we have capital.
Okay, that's what you receive from federal government in a year. Am I right? And on your own, you generate average of about 1.something billion. I'm coming, man. About 1.something billion. In 2019, you generated 1.1 billion. Am I right? In addition to 1.3 billion received from federal government, totaling about 2.5 billion.
Yes.
Huh?
Yeah.
And salaries, when we take salary off that curve, personnel, 1.2 billion. Huh?
Yes.
And from there, you showed us another 100 billion. About 100 million for overhead and capital. Leaving us with 1.3. Are you saying you don't remit anything back to the coffers of the government? In 2019, how much do you remit?
2019, we remitted 22.5 million, sir. 22.5 million.
If you add all these figures together, what was left with you can do more than that. For example, the total figure was 2.5 billion minus 1.01, leaving you with 1.4 billion, minus 1.2 billion, leaving you with 200 something million. You are left with about 70 million at the end of the financial year.
And we have 36 states, we have about 40-something offices all over the country. And we use supervisors, station workers, monitors.
What is mitigating you from raising your funds? What are the challenges?
The two major ones I mentioned, there are others. The first one is the issue of acceptability of NBC.
And what must you do to make you more acceptable?
Yes, we have decided, what I want to do is to, our act actually needs a little bit of,
to be amended.
yes, so that it will be, because some of them, especially
You have to meet with your committee.
Yes, sir.
For them to act accordingly.
Because even my University of Ibadan, I'm still battling with them. They say it's not in our act.
Because of conducting examination, we would like to see the breakdown.
It's there.
Because we gave us 1 billion naira to conduct an exam. What and what? Are you buying the Bible and pencil they are looking?
Oh, of course, we
or buying the computer. 1 billion is a whole lot of money.
For the whole country.
I can be loaded that nobody can ask how much is the cost of conducting exams. I would like to see the breakdown.
We have some of it here.
In black and white.
We have some of it here. Examination.
You will not be deleted.
It is, sir. This is on page 2, sir. The examiners, the markers, they are against me that my agency is very stingy and that we are not able to pay.
500 billion.
DFA. You say it's not up to that, which it's not. It's not, sir. No.
Other charges from IDR, 130 million.
Yes, Madam, follow 13.
159 million.
students that
column
column 13.
13, yes.
Is not there students that pay for that?
No, we pay.
Printing of security documents.
There is a, I'm sorry.
51. Printing of non-security documents. 157. Printing of the two documents. 600 million. Madam.
I check other agents. It's not easy. That is a challenge we have. That's a challenge we have. Right now, I'm looking for money to buy more powerful scanners to release our results on time. It's a big problem for me. If a one woman disgraced me one day that he used to work for NAPTEC, yes, that's your agency that cannot pay.
We have listened to you carefully. But when you look at some of these expressions, most of them are subject to investigation. Acceptability of your certificate is a question the National Assembly will do for you when you bring your amendment forward to the relevant committee of the Senate. Will do justice to that. For your certificate to be generally accepted by all tertiary institutions in the country, so that we have the technical education is very, very, very key to development, because we need to encourage entrepreneurship skill from that secondary level. And this certificate must be accredited, it must be accepted by all tertiary institutions, at least for those who want to read social sciences subjects, social sciences, accounting, business admin, commercial subjects in the university and in the polytechnic and so on and so forth. We will do justice to that, so that the number of students that will register will be triple, so that you can get more revenue. But if at the level you are operating now, expenses are loaded this way, how much have you remitted to the consolidated revenue account? Very meager. You can look at it here. In 2007, only 5 million. In 2019, you remitted only 22.5 million. This is very, very insignificant, madam. For you to encourage this committee to support you in whatever request you want to bring forward to the National Assembly, there is need for you to look at this thing critically when you go back. Most of these expenses are not necessary. And from my own observation from this document, most of them are not necessary at all. And for you to encourage this committee to support you, next, maybe we'll make you independent, so that you get whatever you are able to collect, you get a percentage to fund your recurrent and capital expenditure. You say you have 664 staff members. I want to see their payroll. What is the number? How much are you paying? Are you not paying the normal scale of the civil servant? And so let us see, to justify this to expenditure. The expenditure area where we are not in consonant with you is where you have examination expenses. So on that note, I think you have to do, justice.
My reservation is with respect to the projections, your revenue projections. Okay, they are just. The growth rate is constant, 10%, 10%, 10%. I don't think that is realistic. Okay, is it based on historical trend? How do you come all your revenue, all the revenue items are expected to grow over the next 3 years by 10% each? To me, that is not realistic. I think you just decided to use any percentage arbitrarily.
Madam,
you need to be more scientific.
Madam, what you are remitting to federal government is not acceptable in the light of all this expenditure in cost of conducting exams. To that extent, we are going to subject your agency to status inquiry.
No, I don't know.
We are going to invite the Auditor General of the Federation and give him a very clear court directive to investigate your agency, to carry out status inquiry to some of the items that we have in this document under the cost of conducting exams. The figures are not tenable to us. The 600 million you have earmarked in printing alone After printing that document, we fill this entire hall. Exactly. Yes, we want to know how many students. You just complain about acceptability of your certificates and everything. But we need to. All the expenditures here are frivolous in nature. So when the Auditor General comes back with his report, we give us a clear view as to what NAPTEP it's all about. As it is, you have only give us your documents. That the more you look, the less you see. Because by definition of what is contained in this document, one after the other, cannot stand the test of time. But we can say, let the Auditor General go to Benin, verify all these documents. No, when it comes to play, we are going to mandate their boss to investigate NAPTEP. How can you have 2-point-something billion at the end of the day you give us 10 million naira? You said you even manage to remit to government coffers. I'm putting together about expenditure of about 2-point-something billion every year. It won't fly. So, madam, we are expecting you back tomorrow so that we can hand you over to the Auditor General to look into your books and report back accordingly on the status inquiry. Madam, they are going to investigate you. There is no way. This figure cannot stand. That cost of writing exams is on the high side. 1-point-something billion? No, madam. Thank you. You can leave us for now. We expect you back 12 o'clock tomorrow.
Well, it's with that we'll round off this edition of the program from the National Assembly. I'm Ignatius Nkwo. Enjoy the rest of our programs.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
It was a kaleidoscope of color and action in the streets of Maralal of Samburu County, Kenya. When the world descended to Yale camp for the annual International Camel Derby.
It has been an annual event attracting people from all over the world, all over. Actually, every year we get people from countries like Australia, from Great Britain, France, Germany, USA, and many other countries in Africa.
The Camel Derby is the event where camel owners and skilled riders congregate yearly to participate in this rare international event.
A camel is so hard for some people to ride, but for me, I have trained so much and I'm always so happy when I ride and win with a good camel.
The Camel Derby event presents a number of perks.
The winning team or the winners get money, both the camel rider and the handler, and also the owner of the camel also gets some money. So this is in itself is an incentive.
2 valued camel races take place in the Derby: the 10-kilometer amateur race for the visitors and a professional race for the local expert riders. The winners usually have a few experiences and a lesson or two to share.
I won the event. It was tough, but I made it to the finish line.
Coming at a distant second was Litangi Wabire from the Layan Adayagishi's family. His camel could not obey him to the finish line, forcing him to run alongside it. From Marsabit, Layan Adayagishi's camels have a history of winning since the initiation of the Derby.
We won in Maralal and Rumuruti in 1998 as a family and came in number 1, 2 and 3 in all the 21, 42 and 10-kilometer races.
But times are financially tough for the camel owners. The sponsorship that used to come from several Kenyan farms is no longer forthcoming.
We had sponsors for 3 years who will deworm our animals and give aprons and boots, then one will get money after winning.
The Kenya Tourism Board is attempting plans to make sure that the event elevates to a higher level. With all the responsive measures in place, the streets of Maralal in Samburu County should be alight with anticipation every year around the Camel Derby time.
The largest sub-Saharan ethnic groups are the Bantu, especially the Kikuyu, the Nilotes, and the Kalenjins, each with unique cultural traits. The other native sub-Saharan Africans, The Kushites may geopolitically self-identify as East African, but culture-wise increasingly also consider themselves as Horners. In addition, the small minority of Kenyans with Euro-Asian heritage mainly hail from northwestern parts of India, Oman, and British aristocracy. Welcome. It's a fresh episode of Bon Appetit, a culinary adventure with I, Saratu Said Churi.
African cuisine is as diverse as the many cultures that exist on the continent, and its cuisine is not only reflective of this rich diversity, but it is also full of flavor. Besides the great tasting stews, soups and snacks that are part of African cuisine, there are a number of interesting and easy to prepare staple starches that accompany these dishes. In North Africa, the most common staple foods are meat, seafood, goats, lamb, beef, dates, almonds, olives, various vegetables and fruits. Because the region is predominantly Muslim, halal meats are usually eaten. The best known North African or Berber dish abroad is surely couscous and tagine. South African cuisine includes both cookery practiced by indigenous people of Africa, such as the Sotho and Nguni-speaking people. For Eastern Africa, starchy grain-based foods are the most commonly eaten, and ugali is an important staple, like in neighboring Tanzania. Barbecued meat is popular, but generally not eaten daily. Instead, dishes of beans and corn are relied upon. West African cuisine encompasses a diverse range of foods that are split between her 16 countries. In West Africa, many families grow and raise their own food, and within each, there is a division of labor. Indigenous foods consist of a number of plant species and animals, and are important to those whose lifestyle depends on farming and hunting.
There are about 40 different ethnic groups in Kenya, each with its unique culture. As a result, there is no single dish that represents all of Kenya. While different communities have their own native foods, the staple foods in Kenya include cereals like maize, millet, sorghum, and others, depending on the region, which is eaten with various meats and vegetables. Today on the program, I have the honors of hosting a Kenyan chef in the person of Mrs. Sylvia Nwachukwu. Yes, she's married to a Nigerian, and we're happy to have her as ours. Let's take a look at her profile. So what are we preparing?
So we will today we are preparing two dishes, two grills actually. We have goat meat. In Kenya we call it nyama choma.
Nyama choma.
The houses call it nama. Nyama is nama. So nyama choma is like roasted meat. Yes.
Okay, so nyama, nama. Oh
nama.
Wow.
Yes.
It rhymes actually.
Yeah, it rhymes. So here we have the goat meat. Yeah. Open it.
Nyama.
Yeah, the nama. The nama.
No, nyama.
So this nyama is a goat meat, and you can see clearly that we've removed the skin. So we don't roast with the skin. We have to remove the skin, and most of the time we roast it fresh. So it has to be fresh meat. Yeah. So we normally mix it with spices. The spices are not normally put in directly on the meat, because they dry the meat. So instead of that, we normally mix it with water. So you put in
warm water,
or you can even use cold water, but today I have warm water. Then you put salt. You know, Kenyans like it very natural, so you don't put too much spicy. And then you can see that there is no pepper.
But why is that?
Yeah, we don't eat pepper. Yeah, but we eat chilies, but you know, not many people like it. So I'll make it the way it's made originally. Though I have pepper sauce to go with it if you want it. Then we have this, the secret spice. Yeah.
The Sylvia Deacon spice.
So you put it in. Then you'll put oil in the water.
What kind of oil is this?
This is vegetable oil. Yes. Water. It doesn't matter. It depends with the meat you have. The warm water is mixing with the oil very well. We are done with the mixing. Now we will use foil pepper. You normally do double foiling so that the juices from the meat do not go to the fire. Yes. So that then you wrap it tight. So this is the meat. You put it like this in the foil pepper. Then you put the mixture of the spice, salt, and warm water. Make sure it soaks very well so that the taste can come out. So the main reason why we do this is to soften the meat, and then for the spices to soak in the meat.
It's like a marinade.
Yes, it's like a marinade.
For how long would this sit?
We normally, it's not going to sit per se, but we are going to put it in the oven.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So you'll now take it to the grill. We have our grill here.
And this will cook for how long?
Okay, this one now will take 40 minutes. Yeah, it's so that it's tender enough, and you know, people with bad teeth cannot have problems. Now it's already 1 hour. Okay, we were to wait for 40 minutes, but we waited for 1 hour. So we have our mixture here.
That's
our
the raw
spice that we had mixed earlier. Okay. So we'll now open the foil and grill the meat. Look at this. You can see it's looking nice already.
It's soaked in all the juice.
Yes, it has soaked in all the juice. So, but if you have juice remaining, you can still take the juice and pour it in this mixture, because we're still going to use this mixture. So you'll now put the raw meat. So the reason why I'm doing this is to prevent it from drying, so that it's juicy inside. Yes. And the spices again. You grill like this till it's golden brown. Then you can remove it from the fire. Then it will be ready to be served. Yeah. So I'll cover it so that it can cook very well. We also have the salad I was talking about. It's called kachumbari. The ingredients are very simple. So we'll start with cutting the onions. another trick here to make it, you know, onions are normally bitter, right? Bitter. They have a bitter taste, like they have this bad taste after chewing.
Oh yes, after taste.
So
it's pungent.
Yes, pungent. So we never put hot water.
Okay.
Yes. Then we put salt.
That's brine.
Yes, brine. Thank you. So wait for it, like a minute. I'm using my hands. It's best to use the hands so that you touch everywhere.
You have gloves on.
Yes, I have gloves. The beauty of the salad is the colors, the different colors we put in it.
Like a rainbow.
Yes. And then you put the lemon. Then you pour it on the salad. We can see our meat is now ready. The color is brown. Actually, this meat is measured in kilos. Yeah, when somebody orders, they say 1 kilo, 2 kilo, half a kilo. That's how we eat it. Most of the time, you find the meat hanging. So you say a kilo, and they'll cut the whole meat like a butchery, and then they measure for you. You can even perceive the
nice
smell.
aroma.
Yeah, you can't even know it's got meat. So you have to fold. The reason is the meat not to dry. This is how you handle this meat. You have to keep it folded all the time. You only unfold when you want to eat. Okay. Yes. So we'll fold it, and for it to remain warm, we'll put it back in the grill until time to serve. So now for the kukuchon. Yes. So we have our meat here. The chicken. Of course, it's very fresh. You know, at Sylvie Dickens grill, you always do it fresh all the time. So we serve a whole chicken plus the gizzard and everything. You can see the pieces here. So you'll have to cut the chicken into sizable pieces. We marinate the chicken for like 30 minutes. And we have our spices lined up here. We have basil. This is originally Nigerian because I get it from Jos.
So it's a fusion between Nigeria and Kenya now.
Yes, a fusion. You can smell. Actually, I prefer this over rosemary and others.
Wow.
So I'll put the basil.
All of it?
Yes, all of it. It's like a spoon. 1 spoon, 1 tablespoon. Okay. Then I put the salt. I'll measure with my hands again, accordingly. This is the seasoning I put. I also put crushed garlic and ginger.
That's the paste.
Yes, that's the paste.
The aroma is hit.
Yes. So then we have this. This is one of my special secret recipes. Okay, not this, but this. It's called mint coriander sauce. Mint coriander
So it's
sauce.
a mixture of mint leaves and coriander.
Oh, wow. So I put in it.
Did you make this, chef?
No, this one I buy it.
Okay, but it can be made.
Yes, you can make it. You can blend it, and then I don't know how you make it into a sauce, but you blend it, then you put in it. I'm using my hands, as you can see. You know, the secret of meat is massaging the spices in the meat. Okay, so after mixing all the spices, we will now put the oil and then measure maybe 3 tablespoons per chicken. The reason why we are putting oil is to prevent the chicken from drying and to make it more juicy.
And it's a good thing you've mentioned how it ought to be.
Yes.
3 tablespoons per chicken.
Yes, 3 tablespoons of groundnut or vegetable oil. So our chicken is well marinated. You leave it for 1 hour. Yes, then you can now grill it. Help me open it. It's a bit hot, just push it behind completely. Yes, then you put it inside there. So you'll also allow it, this one, because chicken meat is tender, you have to wait maybe just 30 minutes or less, or 25 minutes. Then you'll now remove it and grill. So it's 25 minutes after, and our chicken is ready. Let's see how it has. Wow, you can see it is so tender, and the basil leaves, you can see them.
Yeah, it looks so juicy and yum.
Yum, you can even use this, you know.
So now you still grill this?
I'll now grill this to brown, to a brown color. Now put it on. So you leave it in, and you're done. We will be turning it and spicing it now. We have a special spice, the special rub I told you about. That is what we'll be using to rub on the chicken.
Intermittently.
Yes.
Can I have some?
Yeah. Press it down. Then pack enough. It's an artistry.
You can pass. You won't tell it where it's going.
So after rubbing the upper part, you rub even the gizzard, and the fire shouldn't be too hot because it will burn the skin of the chicken. The skin of the chicken is very tender. So let's check our chicken. See how it is. Whoa. The color is looking good. See? Color is now golden brown. Our chicken is ready now. You can see it's golden brown. You can see. Very nice, soft and tender. Wow.
Look at the basil.
Yay! And the smell, you can smell it.
The aroma is fantastic.
Sorry. Done.
Well done.
So this is our chicken. You can see the way it's so... I just want to dig in now. But also to keep it sumptuous, I have to cover it with the foil. Now we have a swallow that normally goes with the nyama choma, the one we had done earlier. All Nigerian, I don't bring it from Kenya. Yes. So you see, I'll be serving it shortly, and this is how we fold it and keep it in the grill so that it remains hot till the time to serve. I made it earlier and put in the grill, so I'll just open it here. This is how it looks. It has been baking for quite some time. So that's how it looks.
It's steaming hot.
Yeah.
We're about to fry the chips.
Yes.
That goes with the chicken.
Yes.
And,
Yeah, kuku choma.
Kuku choma.
Yeah, that is how they say it in Swahili. So I'll put the chips on fire. Normally I don't put the salt in my chips. I normally put seasoning only, and then I put on fire.
Any reason?
So just for the taste, I don't want the taste. I want the taste to be distinct. Yeah, that's why I do that, so that it's sweeter than any other person. Normally it takes like 20 minutes because we want it to turn yellow. Once you see it yellow and a bit crispy, that's when it's ready. So that's when you remove it and put it in a sieve. Yeah, so that's how we do it. Now we are going outside to have the final presentation of the kuku choma and the nyama choma. No, the vegetable, because we are not having it, normally goes with the swallow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because the swallow is not here, we are.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
So if we had opted for ugali, vegetable will be expected.
Yes, I'll add the vegetable and then I'll omit the chips. Or if you want to eat with the 2 carbohydrates, I'll put for you.
Beautiful. This is actually a balanced meal.
Yes, it is a balanced.
Carbohydrate, protein, vegetables, oils, everything.
Everything.
It's all encompassing.
Yes.
So let's go to the tasting.
All right. So I think this is give me a feedback. Okay. And tell me how.
So unwrap.
Yes. So you'll unwrap the ugali. Yeah, we serve it in foil paper to keep it hot.
My hands are washed. We're eating the African way.
The African way.
Steaming hot.
So you eat the way you eat soup. You'll take a bit of the swallow, put it in the veggies, and it will flow naturally. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
It's really nice.
You're welcome. You can have a bite of the meat too.
I'll dig in more.
And the aroma is nice.
It is. A bit of the vegetable, a bit of the salad, and the pepper sauce.
And I can see maybe you're tasting the salad. Nice. So that is our chicken. Okay. Then we will put some of it. We have our famous salad here. And still, I will put some of the pepper sauce here.
Okay.
So that does not mix with the rest. I will put it here. Ta-da! Cheers. Cheers.
Nice one.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to taste the
kuku choma. Yes.
This looks easier to handle. And doing this will be a lot easier. Wow. You all have got to taste this. Honestly, it's fantastic.
Very nice.
Wow.
So you see what you've been missing.
It's grilled.
Yes.
Like chicken grill, but believe me, this tastes different.
And we do deliver this currently because of COVID. Now we deliver this call and deliver at your doorstep.
I can taste the tanginess of the lemon. Thank you very much, Chef Sylvie.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
You're
the
welcome.
Kenyan choma.
Yes.
That is the nyama choma.
Yes.
And the kuku choma. Served in a typical Kenyan style.
Yes.
Tastes really fantastic. I enjoyed it.
I'm happy you enjoyed
And
it.
I love it.
I'm happy to be a chef today.
Exactly. I believe many of my viewers at home would definitely want to try this.
Yes, they should. They should.
Thank you for coming on the program. That are also universally eaten in Kenya include the ugali, which we have showcased today on the program. Sukuma wiki and githeri are also other options that you may be willing to try out. The Kenyan diet also includes tea, especially when it's served with milk, and sugar. It is served for breakfast, at meal times, and during their regular tea time. It's been Bon Appetit, a culinary adventure showing on Africa's largest television network, the NTA. Let's do this again next week, same time, same station. I am Saratu Saidichuru. Remain blessed.
This is NTA International.
Information is power. Everyone wants power. So feel powerful with the NTA News mobile app, the one-stop information center. Real news at your fingertip. Be the first to report by uploading first-hand information on the U-Report link, and be the first to know by simply clicking on any of the links on the sidebar for headlines, domestic and foreign news, economy, security, politics, sports, and more. Stream live on your smartphone and tablets and stay connected. It's pretty easy. Simply download NTA News app from your Google Play Store and you're good to go. NTA News mobile app, your access to real-time information.
Thank you very much for staying tuned to the NTA. This is the Medley Show with your girl, Simply Cecil. Well, good to know that you are healthy, staying away from the COVID-19, of course, which is pretty good to know. Now, last week on the program, we talked fitness and wellness. Many of you sent in messages. How bad people